We're here in the Marketing Week Live studio where I'm joined by Bryan Gildenberg, who is the CKO, the Chief Knowledge Officer at Kantar. Bryan, thank you very much for joining us. Just give me a bit of background as to the CKO role, because I don't think I've ever interviewed a CKO before.
And you may never again. So I'm actually the Chief Knowledge Officer for the retail side of Kantar Consulting. So my expertise is 20 plus years studying retail around the world, and the title actually comes out of a poker game one night in 2006, which is a longer story than we have time for. But
well, a lot of good things come out of poker games, and got some people on the pitch.
There we are, yes.
Running across the camera. Anyway, let's call order on this.
Indeed.
So, I want to ask you about skills, because one of the key themes that we've been discussing so far here at the event is around skills. And chatting with Russell Parsons, who's the editor of Marketing Week, he was talking about marketing's looming crisis and about how in order to attract and retain talent, marketing almost needs to go through a marketing exercise of its own. I'm intrigued to hear, Bryan, whether you think that analysis research also needs to go through the same sort of rebranding exercise, whether there's a looming crisis there as well.
I think to some degree. I don't know if I would call it a looming crisis or probably maybe more of a problem than a challenge. But yes, I think for starters, people keep talking about needing expertise in analytics and data. At Kantar, we've been sitting there saying, this is interesting. We're pretty good at that stuff. We've got thousands of PhDs running around that know a lot about this. But we are branded as research and not as analytics. Now that being said, I think there's a whole series of new tools and new skills that we need to bring into the fold to be able to meet the challenges of the 21st century. But I think there's a little rebranding that goes along with making sure that what we already know how to do is more contemporarily viewed.
Sure, and of course technology is coming into the conversation here, and that's changing a lot of industries, and I guess that changes what you guys do, but also the kind of talent that you need to attract.
Oh, fundamentally, yeah, and I think that, as we look at that, there is really there are clearly new tools and technologies. There's clearly a need for a different level of analytics, and in our world, the rise of data that isn't data that we've collected ourselves, but data that other, whether it's the digital exhaust that people create, or that wonderful term for the information you leave around the internet on a daily basis, but being able to incorporate and integrate multiple sources of data from a technology point of view, yes, is a real skill. But the other skill that becomes even more important, the more data sources you have, the more important storytelling and narrative become. Because I can't just draw a conclusion from one data source. I need multiple data sources to be able to pull that together into a story. And that storytelling, in many ways, is as big a need for us as the hardcore analytics side, and in some cases harder to find.
From a technology space, we talk a lot about applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to huge data sets. But something that those technologies have still struggled with is storytelling. I guess this is the place where there is still a really strong place for humans with analytic skills, but also the storytelling skills to make sense of this data.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think that particularly if you're not working in a tech company, if you're working with clients that are in legacy businesses, at some point, if you're going to do anything significant, the idea has to be sold to somebody who's like my age or older, right? So, and that's going to require a story. Like most 55-year-old senior managers aren't comfortable with looking at a pile of spreadsheets and graphs and going, okay, I see it, I get it, let's go. They're going to need a story because at some point they've got to explain it to somebody. And at a very practical level, storytelling is important. But more concretely, a lot of what we have been telling our clients today is the need to understand people more holistically and more completely. And there is always an element of narrative that really goes hand in hand with all of the underpinning facts, because people aren't a pile of underpinning facts. People are emotions, people are complex, and to understand people in a more complex and genuine way, I think it is a combination, whether it is of art and science or whether it is of story and data, but I think both are essential.
Let's bring the story forward to today and tomorrow here at Marketing Week Live and the Inside Show. What is Kantar's involvement here at the event?
Well, we're a big part of the Inside Show. As you'll see when you walk the floor, we've got our display area up. We're sponsoring a number of the forums and sessions throughout the day, and then our physical presence. We've got a number of some of our new our next generation technology solutions. Whether that's the virtual reality products that we use for shelf testing, whether that's technological solutions for brand tracking and advertising,
Yeah.
or whether that's our Streetscapers product, where we're using technology to get real-time on-the-ground feedback from hundreds of people in cities around the world to be able to get a real finger on the pulse of what the global culture is doing. So a number of those tools are on display over in the Kantar booth and on the Insight side.
And it's a very impressive Kantar booth as well. I've walked past it a couple of times.
It's spectacular.
Very eye-catching. Yeah.
Yes. So
good stuff. Listen, Bryan, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I wish you all the very best.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, David. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.